Alright, I'm throwing caution to the wind here. This is one of the not many parts remaining on my Vz330 DIY build part prints. So many parts. And so I'm down to a few big parts, and this guy does not fit in my printer. And I was going to go just bring it into CAD, cut it in half strategically somewhere, and some rejoining features. No big deal. But where's the fun in that? When instead I can, well, I have to select it first. I think this is way more dangerous, therefore way more interesting. Check this out. Bam! Now it fits. So, what's the chances that this will not crash and burn? I don't know. Maybe I should put some supports. Eh. I mean, that can't work. That can't work. I mean, I can go into CAD and make some ramps up here. I think we're going to do that. Isn't there a pause button on this thing? I guess not. Alright, so we are now in SolidWorks, and here is the part. This is the entire printer model, obviously. And there is the part. It's a filter. So what I'm going to do is add supports. That's what I'm doing here. I'm going to add some custom supports. I don't want like a huge tree support. I just want kind of a ramp to support it from tipping over. The rest of the features should be fine. And F to fit the screen. And I'm going to delete this material here because you can't see. And I want the notch up, and I'm going to do a move copy bodies with constraints, or mate settings I should say, and I want this guy down, so that's going to go to the front plane. Add that. I'm going to go F again to get it on screen. Let's rotate. Let's go by this UCS icon here to get my XYZ oriented as I want, and you can see we are out of rotation here, and so we will simply take this edge and make it parallel to the right plane. I said parallel, and actually I want to do a dimension of like a 1/4 inch, say, and it's probably the right direction. It's probably offset the wrong direction. You can check that by just putting an exaggerated number. And there we go. Okay, it is going the correct direction. So I'm going to go back to 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to add one more, which will be this face to this plane, the top plane. I don't like calling them front, top, and right because that's not always the case. I usually rename them to XY, YZ, XZ. But he's made a new template with nothing set for various reasons. Alright. Oh, and I meant to put that, not coincident, I meant to put a dimension again. Let's call it 1/4 inch. And good. And now I am going to create, I'm going to create a plane. Oh, I did, okay, create a plane on that surface, or I could have done the top plane. This was quicker. And I'm just going to select all of this and hit G for project geometry. And let's select also this. I don't need the whole loop. I'm just going to select this edge, G for project geometry, G and G. And so now I have all these lines. I don't need all of this. One thing, I forget that I really don't need these either. And one mildly annoying thing is that if I extrude thin, it needs them all to be connected if I want to do it in one command. So I'm just going to add these lines even though they're not necessary structurally. Actually though, they will actually make the thing a little bit more rigid. I think I missed that point. not sure if it's gonna like that or not, but let's give it a shot. All right, so we're gonna extrude, X for extrude on my shortcuts. Anybody ask? Let me know if you want my shortcuts. I've been using SolidWorks for well over 10 years, and 3D CAD for over 25 years professionally. And I have my shortcuts on SolidWorks are on point. Alright, so my thin feature, I'm going to go the other direction, and it didn't like it. I was afraid of that. Although, what if I just reduce it to, say, 0.04? So it'd be 1 millimeter. Yeah, it still doesn't like it. I don't need this to go all the way to the top. So, I'm going to do a little trick here. T for trim. And I'm just going to drag this guy back to, I mean, I can probably go way back to here, would probably be fine. Ah, that's interesting that this guy, I have to trim this guy also to turn it blue. Drag it over here. And now once I do this, it should, I'm going to do this a little different way because it fought me a little bit. That was a little quicker. And we'll bring this guy back here somewhere. And now I should be able to extrude thin the other way, and this is all actually going to come together pretty good, I think. But let's see if it bites me and if it makes me look silly. I'm going to go up to extrude up to surface, and that should support awesome. Although I'm going to adjust that after a little bit. Excuse me. And I'm also going to go, instead of up to surface, I'm going to go offset from surface. And I'm going to call this 0.015. That might be a little much. I'm just thinking because it's at 45. I think that basically, so typically I do 20 thou for custom supports vertically, but this is at an angle. So I'm going to go 0.01. And I find that does an excellent job of supporting. Maybe I want to go a little less. I want it to break away though. I may trim that a little bit here and there. And I'll show you what I mean. But first, I'm going to do the move face that I think I mentioned. I said I'm going to adjust it. I didn't say move face, but so you can see that we're not under on this support. We're not actually under it. It's almost like scissors shearing. So I just need to move this face, or these 6 faces. 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it should let me translate. And it should be 0.04 because that's what the thickness I made that. And it looks like it's not going to work. I'm confused. Oh, because I have to select these also because they're at an angle. And I don't know why it said okay at selecting one of them. That's strange. And that should also preserve my, and it didn't do anything. Why didn't it do anything? I'm sorry, anything. I'm such a hillbilly redneck. What? I told it the wrong direction. It did exactly what I told it to. Duh. Alright, so the direction is incorrect. Now the direction should be correct. And that didn't, that seems to be offset more than I expected. And it is. That's not very nice. Why did I mess up my extrude, or why is that? That's really strange. Why did it move the whole thing? I didn't tell it to move the body. I told it to move the selected faces. Well, isn't that freaking weird? Alright, well, SolidWorks wants to be buggy. I can deal with that. I'm just going to select these faces. Okay, it's all one face. And translate it back. But I don't know how far to translate it back. We'll figure it out. We'll just eyeball it. Never just eyeball it, but I'm going to just eyeball it. Alright, that'll give me a normal view. And where'd my arrows go? And I'm moving it this way. Uh-oh, I broke it now. Call that good. Hopefully that's about 15,000. Alt M to measure. 0146. My eyes are calibrated, sort of. So I don't need all that material. That's just more material than I need. Way more material than I need. So I'm going to do something like this. That ought to work beautifully. And we'll cut through it all. And select only the support body. That should be a lot less wasted material and easier to remove. And here I'm going to do this. Yeah. Make that guy tangent. So I have these arcs in here instead of sharp corners just because it'll be structurally better. I'm going to make these equal and then put a dimension on them. Not that way. Just so when I drag it around, they don't change size on me as they were. So this shape, this should be a nice structurally sound shape. And oops. And I guess I'll just mirror that. Let's put this on symmetric, and let's make these two symmetric. What? I don't know why that didn't work, so I'm going to trick it this way. Just pick the midpoint. And coincident? What? Okay, that already worked. Select these guys and this guy and mirror. And I think that should be pretty good. I can probably bring this down lower. I'm not sure how happy that's going to be because it's only a millimeter thick. I'm going to make that a little thicker. actually. And I probably bite myself right there because I did my move face, and then I did another move face, and so I'm going to have to redo those, unless I just do another move face. I'm just going to do another... how do I want to handle that? Yeah, just do it. I'm going to call this 2 millimeters. 0.08. And then I'll have to... What? It doesn't like that. Why doesn't it like that? Huh. Alright. Let's do it a different way. Let's do this. I'm going to... I'm confused why that move face, the first one, slid the whole thing. I want to see if it's going to do that again. It probably is. I find that when you do things like that... Oh, this time it's going to behave. Haha. Okay then. Let's call this 0.04. So that'll make it 2 millimeters thick, or 80 thou. And it is, or it looks to be. And we'll do one more for these two, and this is going to be an offset of 0.04. Whoa, what are you doing to me there? I don't want, that's not what I said. Oh, is it just, oh, that's just the preview. It's not expanding the whole thing. Alright, so now there and there we are at 0.08. Here we're only at 0.04. But I'm less concerned about this because even just supporting this high is going to make it not tip over. I'm confident. And this portion here is just to support this bridge portion. And then otherwise it should print fine, I suspect. So then if I roll to the end, everything should be kosher. And that looks to me like it's going to print excellently. And let me think about that for another second. Because before, this would be, alright, here's a little trick that I like to use. I'm going to put a sketch on here and a rectangle. I'm going to basically simulate the printing, how it will go. And what I mean by that, now if I show this sketch, I can drag this up and down and see what it's doing. So I can see here, that when I print to here, how are these guys going to print? I think they'll do fine. And I can bring it higher. And am I confident that this guy is going to print okay? I think so. I mean, it should be fine. It's 2 millimeters thick here. So I think that'll be stable enough. And this here is not, this here is only 1 millimeter thick, but that's okay because it goes around this corner and that's going to give it all kinds of structural rigidity. Alright, so I'm confident in that. I'm going to suppress this feature in case I want to use it again later. I'm going to roll to before it just in case I want to use it again later. And I'm just thinking I could potentially lightweight this a little more. Not worth my time. Perfect enough. I'm going to make a bit of an adjustment to this. As I was getting ready to print it, I realized that as the... So let me show what I mean. Unsuppress my print progress simulation feature. So let's say I'm like here. As the print head goes back and forth, zigzagging like this thing could wobble a fair amount. And especially on the taller ones. I'm not going to worry about the shorter ones. But on these taller ones, well, this one probably not bad. But this one, I want to reinforce that, and even more so I realized after I had that thought was that this portion here, I probably needed like a T-section. So I'm going to roll back to before this guy again, and I'm going to hide this just because it's in the way, and I'm going to very simply create a sketch here and extrude thin. Aha! No, I don't need that much. Let's call it, I don't know, even just a 1/4 inch is going to be fine. And now that I look at it, that's even overkill, but that's fine. And I don't even need it to be the 2mm. I want to go 1mm, 0.04. It's actually like 0.039378, something like that, but perfect enough. And I'll put a radius on there just to make the printer a little happier. That's probably overkill. And I'm going to do similar here. Sketch here, line, and again I'm going to just go extrude thin, and leave it the settings it was. This might be a little bit problematic, so I'm just going to put a big chamfer on here. That'll be fine. And then I'm going to, is that a word? I don't know. Then I'm going to create a plane here because I'm not centered on the, I positioned it so it would sit in the right location on the print bed, and therefore I'm not symmetric across the planes. Select those two, Control plus, which is my shortcut to select a plane, enter because I pre-selected, and now I have a plane there, so I can mirror those features. And mirror, and am I in features? Yeah. And interestingly, it said feature. Oh, the two different features. Duh. All right, and so that's better. And Shift Tab to re-show my part. And why is it black again? SolidWorks is sure as buggy sometimes. Earlier I was doing this like on a first take, and it's still black. I just don't want it black. And I did a move body copy to put it up like this, and then I decided I'd want it the other way, and so I deleted the move body copy, and it stayed at an angle like this. And I did a rebuild all. And without the move body copy, it stayed moved. And actually, now that I think about it, the move body copy command over the years, I've found plenty of times where it does goofy things. Like, if sometimes I'll do a move body copy, and I'll leave the feature there, and the thing will unmove. And it's persistent. It's crazy. But anyway, we're looking good here, and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to insert this piece of video back in the video. So don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you are watching this. Evidently you probably like it, so if you could do me a favor and hit that like button. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to save this, but I'm not going to show you my file structure. Can't be too careful sometimes. So interestingly though, I can comment while I'm doing this, is that Creality Print Slicer now evidently supports step files. So I'm going to save this as a step file instead of a STL file, because the STL file makes jagged corners, and this step file makes true curved corners. And so what's today's date? The 12th. 0812. I date stamp all my STL files and step files, so I know that I have the latest and greatest when I see it on my tiny little LCD screen on the printer. And I'll call it 0812A because it's the first print of the day. Save, and go back into Creality Print Slicer. And I'll turn your eyes back on now. I will in a second. I just need to open the file, and I need to tell it step files, and select that guy, maximize that, and turn your eyes back on. Alright, so now you can see here, much safer to print, and I'm curious how much longer this would take, but I bet it's less time than if I used actual supports on this, because it would cover the entire underneath, and I don't need to cover the entire underneath. I just needed to just a little bit of a support to make it not tip over, to ensure that it does, because maybe it wouldn't tip over, and I was going to just go for it, but I decided that I don't feel like just going for it, because I could see this giant chunk of plastic falling over and then jamming and then breaking things. So, you know, if a little part falls off, no big deal sometimes, most of the time. But a part this big and solid, I do not want to risk breaking my K1. I have to select it first. And I guess I could probably auto center it, but I don't know exactly where that feature is. So interestingly, I can also print other parts at the same time. I want to rotate it this way just because of my camera view angle. This will be better on camera. And back to move. I want to shove it over here in the corner, and so I can add some other parts. But I'm just going to slice this up quick just to show it, and then I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to add other parts, and we'll figure out what we want to do. I potentially should have done this in 1080p instead of 4K, so it will play nice with the video of the print. But no big deal, I can just make it the video in parts. Plus I don't know why I do 4K, because it takes forever to upload and process. But whatever. And slice, slice, slice. So interesting observation here. I'm not sure how long it takes other people to slice. It takes this a while to slice on these big parts, and I have a very up-to-date fast computer, and so I wonder how frustrating it is for other people, how long their slices take if they have an older machine. This is actually a super high-end laptop, 64 gig of DDR5 and RTX 4070 and 13. Ooh, I forgot to turn this. I forgot to turn the supports off. That's interesting. All right, I don't have to redo that. And go into my settings. I've been printing without supports, but the last print I did supports. I forgot. Okay, so ungenerate supports. I'm gonna turn the brim off. I'm wishing that I had the brim off on all those other prints. Maybe it would have. Maybe I needed the brim on the other prints. I don't know, but I think on this one I don't. None. Just a pain to trim it. Trim the brim after. Trim the brim. Alright, let's reslice that. I don't know why it's showing as sliced, because I was back in the prepare. So I'm just curious to see how long this will take to print. Estimated. Alright, so I said that was with the tree supports. It was 10 hours and 53 minutes. And yeah, the last print I did a whole batch of the support critical parts, and I did the heavy tree supports, and I saw it on camera. It looks pretty cool. And so I'm going to take a quick video of that when I go out and harvest those and start this. But still 10 hours. Oh, no, it's not done preparing. So yeah, with the tree support, adding the tree supports to this, I'm kind of curious how long I'm adding by using this support. But I bet it's less than what the tree supports would add. Because if I did tree supports on this thing without my custom support, it would take forever to print and use a ton of filament. And so it's another reason I like to make my own custom supports, because I was going to say I find those more reliable, but that's not considering tree supports. I don't have much experience with tree supports other than it was awesome last time I did it, and it looks pretty awesome this time. But anyway, these supports, relative to the old school style supports, I find that my custom supports tend to work better and easier to remove and use less material. So 10 hours and 27 minutes. Interesting, it only added a half hour for the if I left the tree supports in. But anyway, I am going to end this video and add more parts and then print. So if you're still here, it seems like you liked the video. So if you wouldn't mind, if you could do me and potential other viewers a favor and click the thumbs up and subscribe if you're not, and consider it, and comment, questions, requests, let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching. See you next time.